I got a question. So I'm dealing with rotator cuff tears and tendinopathy, especially on the right side, and I'm in PT and it's getting a lot better. So recently I got a book about weightlifting for people over 50, and they suggested that one thing you could do is do your overheads in the scapular plane at about 45 degrees instead of the typical all the way back. And so I'm wondering if there are any other quick tips, quick ideas, because I just looked at that and I was like, well, geez, I wish I'd have known that a long time ago. I could probably save myself. And Kimberly and Gina, if you're not dealing with this issue, this may be still interesting because my understanding from my orthopedist is shoulder deterioration is a fairly common trend in life. So maybe there may be some tips here of use for everybody.
Absolutely. It's a little controversial, but one of my favorite books about shoulder health is by Dr. I think it's John Kirsch, Kirsch. I might be wrong there. It's basically called Hanging for Shoulder Health, and it's just doing the hang where you grab a bar, grab something overhead, and you put your weight on your shoulders and hang is really good for building robust, resilient shoulder joints. And his explanation there is the AC joint, the acromion and the anyway, it's basically where your collarbone and clavicle, AC, acromion and clavicle, where your collarbone and the spine of your scapula, your shoulder blade, meet over here. Over time, having the weight of our arm hanging on it for decades and decades, especially with posture problems, causes that joint to bend down and compress till those bones are squeezing your rotator cuff every time you move, and that leads to more rotator cuff problems, tears, dysfunctions. And the way to combat that, according to Dr. Kirsch, again, this is not my idea, and there's people who disagree with this. According to Dr. Kirsch, is you spend enough time in traction where you're hanging, where you're pulling, it actually is bending that joint upward, making more space inside the shoulder capsule for your rotator cuff for everything to move. And it's also strengthening those ligaments and things just by putting that weight on them for a period of time. So I really like that book. When I read it 5 years ago or something, I started integrating just a hang to all of my client sessions. Every time they come in, they hang for a minute. If they can't hold on with their body weight, they just keep their feet on the ground and do as much as they can. And a timed hang is something that is a valuable mortality risk longevity test. People who can hang from their hands for longer tend to be stronger. It's measuring grip strength, it's measuring shoulder health. They tend to be healthier, more independent, lower risk of all cause mortality. So it's a great thing to practice because we stack the deck in our favor. In fact, I forgot to mention it in any of my classes, but Jane Esselstyn from the plant-based community set a world record on the hang, and she's 91. She did it for over 3 minutes, full body weight. And granted, she's itty bitty, but that's longer than I can hang. I was shocked. I was so impressed. So it's something that I think is beneficial for everyone to do, but you want to strengthen your rotator cuffs anyway. So first thing I would say is hanging is really good. Unless your doctor or physical therapist says don't, then you should listen to them, not me, even though I disagree. It's fine. And I think it absolutely will build up the flexibility and the resilience of your shoulder joint, but you also want to strengthen it. So I agree staying in the scapular plane is something everyone should do. Did any of you guys go to my exercise form clinic? Oh, it was so good. Don't worry. I will pantomime. Look at that. I love it. It's a power tower pull-up bar dip station. Well done. I could show you mine. It's kind of out back, but you wouldn't see it that well. We're in the club, though. I will give you a cue here on any kind of upper body movement, press or pull, follows the same joint dynamics. So what do I mean by that? If you are doing an overhead press, at the bottom position, as your elbows come down, they should naturally come in a little bit, just like you were saying. And my thoracic spine, which is my upper back, should extend. So my chest, my breastbone goes up towards my chin as my elbows come down. So if I'm holding dumbbells, notice it's in front of my face. It's not back here, right? And that should be a natural feeling. I don't really want to go below my mouth or chin unless there's a specific reason to. I'd rather stop there. As I go up, letting my shoulder blades move naturally, I push up, and then I go more towards the plane of my back. So see how my arms are not in front of my head anymore? They're back directly over my skeleton. That's my shoulder blades on my back are doing this. They're coming down and together at the bottom, and then they're coming up and out and rotating a little bit as I go up. That's how they're naturally supposed to move. That's the healthiest for your shoulder joint, and that allows your upper back muscles to support your shoulder. So think of it as a pull-up. If you guys are familiar with pull-ups or pull-downs, what you want to do is push your elbows down and lift your chest towards the bar as you're going. So from the side, it's that same movement. See how my chest comes up as my elbows go down. I'm pushing my elbows down. The overhead press is that exact same movement in reverse. So I'm starting from this position. My upper back is engaged, lifting my chest, and then I'm pushing up and I'm getting underneath the weight. And then I'm extending my back so that the weight's a little in front of me, and then I'm pushing up, getting under the weight. So, do you guys see that movement? That is allowing your shoulder blades to move naturally and supporting your shoulder joint the best. If you lock into a rigid position, you're going to cause more wear and tear over time. You want to let things move as naturally as possible, but it still takes practice because we all have unnatural posture. If you're like this, things don't move the way they should. The same, I'll show you just because it's the same idea. If I'm doing a row, like if I'm pulling an exercise, cable row, band row, whatever, I'm pushing my elbows back and I'm lifting my breastbone up. Same idea. I don't really go past my back with those elbows. I go flush to my back because otherwise my posture can kick over. But if I'm doing a push like a bench press, it's the same thing. I start with that breastbone lifted, elbows back, and then I push to neutral posture. So see that? I'm pulling, my chest comes up, and then I go back to normal as my arms go out. Or if I'm pushing, my chest starts up, and it goes back to normal as I push out. These are all ways of allowing your shoulder blades to move naturally and keeping your upper back engaged. Is that kind of making sense to you guys? It's
Terrific. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
You're
Very
welcome.
helpful. I can imagine you could do a whole mobility sequence just practicing that before you do the weights. That's great.
Yes. And then that way, when you're doing the weights, it's reinforcing the correct way to move your shoulder blades and it's reinforcing your posture because you're driving that breastbone up, driving those shoulder blades down and back is flexing all your posture muscles and they get stronger and then it's easier to have good posture. So these are ways that will help your rotator cuff. It will help your posture. It will prevent injuries. It will make you stronger over time because you're moving in the most efficient way possible. So it's a win. And it applies to every upper body movement. If you think about those two, the pusher pull vertical and pusher pull horizontal, doesn't matter what exercise I'm doing. Could be a machine, a cable, a free weight. It's the same movement no matter what. So very useful to think about things in those terms.